Hi friends, welcome to English Study Point. Today in this video lecture I am going to explain you verses composed by Sant Tukaram. So let's begin this video lecture by an introduction. Sant or Saint Tukaram was a 17th century poet or philosopher from Maharashtra. His verses were written in the form of abhangs. He sang praises of Lord Krishna or Hari in the form of abhangs, and these abhangs are popular form of devotional poetry in Marathi. And whenever he composed these abhangs, so his this abhang is a kind of a poetic composition, style of poetic composition, and his verses revolve around themes of humility, faith in Lord, love, and importance of leading a virtuous life. His poetry also emphasized the need for self realization. So, we should know the ways how to discover our own self. That is what his focus revolved around in his Abhangas and connection with the divine. He fought against discrimination and advocated for the upliftment of all individuals, regardless of their social status or caste. And also, he emphasized the equality of all beings and the need for compassion and empathy towards others. Now here I am reading first stanza of his verse where he says, I was sleeping when Namdev and Vitthal stepped into my dream. So here Tukaram describes a visionary experience where two important figures from his spiritual tradition whose name is Namdev as well as Vitthal. This Vitthal is a type of or is a form of Lord Krishna, and he says that these two figures unexpectedly enter his dream state. Then your job is to make poems. Stop wasting time, Namdev said. So here this saint Namdev, who is also known for his own poetry and devotion to God, instructs Tukaram that his purpose or duty is to create poems. And here Namdev encourages Tukaram to cease any unnecessary distractions and only just focus on his role as a poet. Then Tukaram says, Vitthal gave me the measure and gently aroused me from a dream inside a dream. So here Lord Vitthal, who is considered as an incarnation of Lord Krishna and the object of devotion in the region, bestowed upon Tukaram the measure. So this can be interpreted as providing Tukaram with the necessary inspiration, rhythm or guidance to write his poems and arousing from a dream inside a dream. This particular line signifies Tukaram being awakened from his ordinary state of consciousness and he tries to enter a heightened or elevated spiritual state. Then Namdev vowed to write 1 billion poems. Here Namdev expresses his commitment and dedication to writing an immense number of poems. This emphasizes the significance and power of poetry as a means of expressing devotion and spiritual insight. Then, Tuka, all the unwritten ones are your responsibility. So, in this particular line, Namdev addresses Tukaram affectionately by his nickname Tuka and assigns him the responsibility of writing the remaining unwritten poems. This particular line implies that Tukaram has been entrusted with continuing and expanding upon the poetic legacy and spiritual teachings of Namdev. So overall, this particular stanza illustrate a kind of vision in which Tukaram receives guidance and a divine calling to fulfill his duty as a poet. And in this particular verse, he reflect Tukaram's dedication. So his own dedication to his craft and his recognition of the importance of his role in expressing and disseminating means spreading spiritual and devotional messages to all people. This is a kind of another stanza of same verse composed by Sant Tukaram, where he speaks, "Words are the only jewels I possess." Here, Tukaram states that words hold tremendous value for him. They are like precious jewels, which symbolize their importance in means words' importance in his life and work. Then he says, "Words are the only clothes that I wear." By this line, Tukaram suggests that words are not only essential to him, but they also form his identity, his own unique individuality. So they are metaphorically means these words are metaphorically compared to clothes, which implies that his expression and communication are intricately woven into who he is. Words are the only food that sustains my life. So, with this line, he emphasizes that his nourishment comes from these words, and this can refer to both the sustenance he derives from expressing himself through poetry and the inner fulfillment he experiences through the spiritual significance of these words. Then he says, "Words are the only wealth I distribute among people." So Tukaram considers his words to be the sole source of wealth he possesses instead of material riches. He believes in sharing the wealth of his poetic expression with others. It means he finds deeper fulfillment in enriching the lives of people through his writing. Then says Tuka, "Witness the word he is God." So here, Tukaram asserts that his belief lies in recognizing the divine presence within words, and also he invites others to bear witness to this particular truth. Here, this Tuka, mention of Tuka, refers to Tukaram himself, which signifies that he personally proclaims this particular belief. "I worship him with my words." So here Tukaram expresses his devotion to God through the act of poetic expression. And for him, writing poetry is not solely an artistic endeavor but also a form of worship, a way to connect with the divine through words. So overall, this particular stanza in this stanza, Tukaram shows a kind of, or he showcases deep reverence for the power and significance of words. These words hold so much importance in his life, and he recognizes their immense value as a means of personal expression, and also it acts as a form of spiritual sustenance for him. With use of these words, he is able to share blessings with others, Lord's blessing to him with others, and through his words he seeks to connect with God and make a meaningful impact on the lives of others. This is another stanza of verse composed by Sant Tukaram, where he says, "I am not starved for want of food, but it is Janardhana who deserved my reverence." Reverence means faith. So here, uh, in these lines, he says that he does not lack physical sustenance, but his true devotion and reverence belong to Janardhana, which is another name for God. He acknowledges that his spiritual nourishment is of utmost importance in this phase of his life, and this kind of spiritual nourishment, it surpasses any kind of physical need which exists on this earth. Then he says, "I have looked on God as one who sees everything on bright and dark days alike." So Tukaram sees God as an omniscient and omnipresent being who witnesses everything regardless of whether it is a time of happiness or sadness. He believes that God's presence is constant and unwavering in his life. God is like a father with his child who both feels and gives pleasure at the same time. So Tukaram tries to compare the relationship between the God and humanity to that of a father and a child. As a father brings pleasure to his child and feels joy in doing so, similarly, God also experiences pleasure and happiness in providing for and nurturing humanity. Then good acts and bad acts vanish, With this line, Tukaram suggests that any past action, be that good or bad, that automatically fades away in the presence of God, in this divine realm, divine field. These distinctions lose their importance, and what remains is the unconditional love and grace of God. Then Tuka says God's glory alone is left. So, here in this particular line, Tukaram concludes by affirming that ultimately only God's glory prevails in this particular earth. And in the grand scheme of things, everything else fades away, and God's divine presence and magnificence stand as the ultimate reality. So, here in this particular whole stanza, Tukaram is try to showcase his belief in the all encompassing presence and grace of God. He emphasizes the importance of spiritual nourishment and reverence for God, his deep faith in God over worldly needs. And he also emphasizes the unconditional love and nurture provided by God, regardless of our past actions that we have performed in our life. And ultimately, he asserts the ultimate supremacy of God's glory, which is only true reality that exists on this earth.